Hi everyone, welcome back to Be Rich. I have Arun with me, and he had some more doubts after reading an article. So I thought I'd sit and clarify these doubts for him. And in the same effort, if you had the similar doubts, you can also look for some answers here. So what do you have, Arun?
So this is article from Mint newspaper.
Hmm.
So the article says social sector spending short of target. So in this article they have mentioned about social sector spending and private sector spending. So what is the difference between the both?
Social sector is public sector. Okay. So anything the government spends is called public sector or social sector. Everything which is spent by companies and businesses is called private sector. And it's important the government spends because government is the one which builds your roads, builds your airports, builds your railway station, railway tracks. And under social sector, what mainly falls is your health, your government hospitals, your government doctors, and government schools and government education. The funny thing is, in that report, what you shared with me, it says 26% is spent on health, 36% is spent on education. Okay, then the remaining huge, almost another 30%, it just says others.
So they didn't mention what is that details and all.
What is that details? So as a citizen, you should have to go to their website and really do some research to find out what those others are, because they don't elaborate. And that is curious because you're not talking about 5 rupees, 10 rupees here. You're talking about 23 trillion rupees or $280 billion. It's a lot of money. And it's still below what rest of the BRICS are doing, rest of the other countries are doing. If you compare and see, India is not spending enough. So India needs to spend more. But what government is hoping to do is that private sector will pick up the tab. That's what that whole CSR effort is. CSR and all that pushes is to encourage private sector to spend more on so-called philanthropy and donors to encourage this to happen. This will cover the shortfall which will happen in social sector, especially in healthcare and education, being the primary places where these funds are going to. So it's curious to ask. First of all, I'm not being critical of the government. It's just the way the system works. So it's not to any political party. Even any parties in power, this will be happening. So it is curious to understand if private sector is contributing so much every year. They themselves are contributing around 1.2, 1.3 trillion dollars. They're dumping into this. Aside from that, the government is also spending. So how this fund is being managed and what is happening is something that needs to be studied. The biggest problem with our government is inefficiency in spending.
So they will plan the things, but they will not implement it.
Yeah, planning is also very convoluted. It is because no other reason than there's too many people trying to do too many things inside the government. And that is a big problem for a country in the size of India. And the amount of money you're dealing with is huge. And the population is huge. So things get lost in large quantities. Like I was reading an interesting article in US, many millions of gallons of fresh drinking water is lost due to old pipelines which are leaking, and it's going to lead to water scarcity in US. The same thing is true with money in India. We have lots of resources in India. If we just manage these resources more efficiently and smartly, our people won't have to suffer so much. Most of the suffering which is caused in India is because of poor management and mismanagement. Things fall between the cracks and no one's there to fix it. So how this is going to be done, I do not know. But this has been progressively getting better. If you see India from 1980s to now, every 5 years, if you see, we are getting better and better. Now the advancement of AI and more computer integrating of internet into things, I do feel it will vastly improve things. Like our digital banking, UPI and all this put together, things are getting more and more efficient. To the point, you are so used to paying through GPay here and using UPI. The funny thing is, you go to Europe or you go to US or Japan or Australia, it's not there. You have to carry cash.
So we think they are advanced, but they are better in payment.
Because of history, you are yet to catch up to where they are today because you have not been there. And all the information which is being fed to you, them being great, is all old movies and old TV shows and other old stories from if you honestly talk to your relatives who are staying there now, none of them will be living up saying US is better than India. Believe it or not, a lot of Indians who are there want to come back to India because India is going through a phase of rising up, with China being pushed down because of their own mistakes and the real estate sector there. China's in shambles. So India is the only bright spot which is left in terms of growth. And India has potential to really grow now. And things in India are coming first. So a lot of people who are sitting in the US are really wanting to come back to India because India has potential to grow. There's a huge population to serve and lots of opportunities to make money. While US, on the other hand, is wallowing, licking its wounds, and is becoming completely divided. If he's following what's happening in politics there also, you have someone like Trump, who literally almost overthrew the government, right? Who did all kinds of crazy things. And the Supreme Court of United States has said, no, it's okay. Literally. It's literally like what's happening.
He's going to be re-elected again.
Yeah, it's literally what's happening in Pakistan. Imran Khan is sitting in jail. They threw him and put him inside jail. And they did not allow his party to contest. They removed all the symbols from the electoral machines. So all of his party guys stood as independents and they all won. And he's still sitting inside jail. And so they got a weak government, Pakistan now. Nawaz Sharif and the other guy have got together. They're not friends, those two guys, but they don't have a choice because Imran Khan's got so many votes now.
They have got no other option.
They're trying to be friends, but they're not friends. So Nawaz Sharif is going to become prime minister. The other guy is saying we won't be part of the government, we'll support from outside. You know how that works. How much they'll support from outside. So it's all very shaky there. That's the same thing you can see happening in US. Trump has literally destroyed the playbook which the Republicans have been using for so many years. And it's changed. And their cities are running down because of needing an upgrade in infrastructure. And what this is happening throughout US, where, they're spending on things they don't need to, which I don't want to specify exactly what they're spending on. Everyone knows what they're spending on. So all that money is going to waste. So if you look at India, that terms, India has now potential to grow. It's rising. So that is why there's so much attention of India, which is all good for our government, which is all good for the Indian people. But with this comes the consequences of you have to be better at managing your affairs, better at managing funds, being responsible with the money which you have. And also the laws and regulations, whatever you're following, that it's fair and transparent and equal. Because all investors look for something like stability, transparency, and rule of law should be there.
Best return of investments.
Yeah, even more than that, because even if you don't get returns, at least you get your money back.
Okay.
You don't want to put your money somewhere, like in North Korea, and then you never know what's going to happen. You're going to get it or not, you do not know. It's the guy's goodwill if he feels like returning it to you. That's happened so many times throughout history where investors have tried investing in things and lost money. So that's the main thing. So if you look at it all that, India is in a great position. But this article, what it highlights is there is a gap and we need to fix it. And they're hoping by some date, they've said 2030 or something, they've said in that article, they'll get into a better position to fix all these things. That gives them some time to work out and implement better plans. But something to ponder about. But remember, we did speak about this RBI asking.
Yeah, I was about to mention that.
Yeah.
So I asked private sector firms to contribute to the infrastructure of India.
It's a very funny thing. The government always wants the public to do everything. And the very small percentage of Indians pay taxes. They're not trying to improve it so that more and more people will be paying taxes, make it more transparent, lower the tax rate so more people can enter the tax bracket and encourage more Indians to pay taxes. But we seem to be giving business owners and businesses tax breaks while increasing on employees, more tax on them. It's not going to lead to any kind of solution because there'll always be a shortfall in government funding them. Government needs to increase its funding. The ways to increase funding is to tax more efficiently and more fairly. Currently in India, we do not tax efficiently, nor do we tax very fairly. That needs to do an overhaul. But the problem is people want change. People want things to be better. At the same time, they don't want to pay for it. What can the government do? There's a very famous saying. If you have a leader, if you don't like your leader, no, it's not to blame, it's yours. Meaning your government and your leadership is a reflection of your society.
Okay.
Correct. If the Americans don't like Trump, then he won't be there. The fact is, majority of the Americans like someone like Trump.
They are the ones who are voting for him. So
exactly. Same. This is true with even dictators. And it's true with even autocracies and communism. If majority of the people want it, it's there. if majority of the people, like what happened in Russia when they removed communism, they slowly pushed it out. It might take time. I'm not saying it'll happen overnight. It'll take time, but it'll happen. Well, it's interesting to wait and watch. Anyway, we kind of digressed into different areas of conversations. But basically, social spending in India needs to improve. And we should definitely find out what other is, where 30% of our money is going.
Almost 30% they have mentioned there.
As a citizen of India, you should wonder what the government is doing with other. Anyway, chalo. Thanks for watching the podcast, guys. I hope you found it informative and entertaining as always. See you in the next one soon. Bye.
Thank you.